It's Transformers96 here with another video where I'm just talking about a new Hot Toys figure that was just shown. As you can see, it is the Ultron from Avengers 2, Age of Ultron. So yeah. So, of course, I'm a huge Villains fan, so this was obviously a really awesome day to see this guy's pictures go out and to see him go on pre-order. Very excited for this one, of course, and I'm very excited to get the figure. Looking really stunning, I have to say. A lot of people, mixed feelings, mostly just about the actual character design, not so much the toy design, but the character design, you know, is kind of splitting people up. I personally like it a lot. To me, it's very much like bones and muscle, you know, without skin, you know? It's got very much of like an inner workings of a human type of look, which I think looks nice. He's not so brutish. He's very thin and, you know, I think will rely on his intelligence a little bit more than his just brute strength, which I really wanted to see, especially having James Spader voice him, you know, very kind of arrogant, but arrogant but kind of, you know, smart type of voice, I think would really fit the look of this robot a lot better than if they did something a little bit more traditional to the comics. So I do like this whole sculpt design a lot. Now, talking about the actual figure, it looks quite wonderful, I have to say. I really love that you can see the inner workings of his body, and the red light being inside of his body is really cool. It also looks like that he has lights in his biceps and forearms, but from when I read the description of him on Sideshow's website, it just mentions lights in the face and body, so I'm not sure what the lights in the arms, if there is actually a light in there, or maybe there's just like a light in the shoulder that kind of travels up the arm. I'm not quite sure, but I would assume that there's lights in the arms, because it certainly looks like it, so yeah. Overall, I feel like this guy is going to be really needed to be lit up on your shelf, which is a bit of a shame because, of course, this is not how your figure is going to look on your shelf, because the batteries and lights can't stay on 24/7. So, of course, you do want to take a look at some pictures of him non-lit up to see actually how he looks, and he looks pretty decent without the lights on. So I don't mind it. It's not like this figure is only going to look good with the lights on. He'll still look good with them off. He does have a movable jaw, which I really am excited for because I like the poses and scenes with his mouth open. I think it looks pretty interesting and a little different from what we usually see. And then his eyes, I don't think they move, but I mean, if you look at these pictures, it's hard to tell. They seem like they follow you almost, so I'm not quite sure on the eyes. They might have some sort of capability of moving, but they also might not. I mean, like again, on Sideshow's website, they don't mention the moving eyes at all, so I don't think that he has moving eyes, because I bet that they would mention that if he did, but it looks like it, I have to say. He is quite tall. He is 16 inches tall, which I think is pretty awesome. Now, before he went on pre-order, I wasn't quite sure on what the price would be. My expectation, or what I was expecting, was $310. I thought that was a pretty fair deal, because an average, you know, Iron Man would be like $260 or so. So this guy, obviously being taller, not coming with as much, and, you know, without a face sculpt of a human, I knew that he would definitely be bumped up in price, but I expected like $310. So it was quite surprising to see a $375 price tag. I have to say it is quite a lot, and a lot of people are disliking that price tag. I have to say, even for Hot Toys standards, it's a little more than I would have expected. Now, 16 inches is quite large, but the thing that you have to understand is this guy is really quite skinny. I mean, he's got a very broad shoulders, but his head, arms, and legs, and even the waist are all very skinny. So it's not like just because he's tall you're getting a ton of plastic. He is quite tall, so you are getting extra plastic, but you're not getting that much more plastic, I have to say. So I do think the $375 price tag is higher than it should be, even by Hot Toys' standards. You know, I'm not just saying that it's a ridiculous price tag because it's very high, and of course then all Hot Toys figures would be ridiculously priced. I'm just saying, based on what Hot Toys usually prices their figures at, that is quite high. So I was surprised to see the $375 price tag. Overall, pretty much lacking on accessories for the most part. He comes with hands, fist hands, as well as articulated fingers, and then he has a base, and that's it. So not much on accessories either. The base itself is really cool. It's very circular, like the Iron Man 3 figures, and then as you can see, it does have the A. It's a little bit more mechanically done, almost like an Ultron type of A, and then with red lights. Overall, I really love the design of the base. In these pictures, I kind of expected it to be bigger than it actually was. Seeing pictures of him like on display, standing on top of that base, it's really quite a small base. It seems like the base is the same size as the Iron Man 3 ones, and because he's a little bit bigger and he's got kind of longer feet, so it looks like the base is a little too small for him. Wish that they would have made that a little bigger, unfortunately, but what are you gonna do? Here's a nice picture of the open mouth. I really do love the design of Ultron in the movie. Based on what I've seen, I really like the design, and the Hot Toys one really captures it pretty perfectly in my opinion. I hope that he's going to have some great articulation. Obviously he won't be hindered by clothing, but I hope that the strange panels on him don't hinder him at all, and that we'll get some good articulation. I could imagine the torso and waist being severely hindered with articulation based on how much stuff is going on in there, but I am crossing my fingers that that won't be an issue, so yeah. So overall, and he's also coming out January to March of 2016. That is a long time away. I mean, that's basically, it's February, so assuming you average out this day, it would be February as well. So that's a full year from now. Now, I have been noticing that lately Hot Toy or Sideshow has been putting their expecting to ship dates, either kind of overestimating them or putting, a three-month block like they did with this one. So there are quite a few Hot Toys that are coming in earlier than they're actually expected to. Like Gamora was the newest one that wasn't supposed to come out until April, and it came out like late January, which was really crazy. So, I mean, I could see this guy coming in early, and I hope he does. One thing, too, is they are naming him as Ultron Prime. Now, this might be nothing, or it might be something. I have a feeling if this was the only Ultron that they were going to make, they just have his name as Ultron. But they clearly, in every photo and every, time that they write his name, they say Ultron Prime. So, my guess is that they would be doing more Ultrons. I'm hoping that they'll do a Mark 1 Ultron or a Puppet Ultron, whatever you want to call that one, that's very unfinished. I really hope that they do that one, and I'll definitely be buying that. And then I hope they do like an Ultron Sentry, or maybe do like two different versions of the Sentry, one with blue lights, one with red lights. I'll be very excited for that one too. I'm definitely going to get this guy, definitely higher price tag than I was hoping, but I am still going to get him. Huge Villains fan, and this Ultron looks amazing. And if they make a Mark 1, totally going to get it. If they make a Sentry, if they make like a red Sentry and a blue Sentry, I'll probably just stick with one Sentry. Most likely I'll just get red, because I have a feeling all the Ultrons are going to have red lights, so I think it'll be nice to kind of fit with the Mark 1 and the Prime. And so I'm not going to army build the Sentries, is what I'm trying to say. I'm just going to get one, but I hope that they do 3 different versions of Ultron just for this movie. I think that that would be quite sick, and considering how early they put this guy on pre-order compared to when the movie comes out, they certainly have time to give us a Hot Toys Ultron on pre-order every now and then, and not have it be like just all of a sudden within 3 weeks we get 3 different Hot Toys Ultron. So I have a feeling, because they showed him this early, and because his name is Ultron Prime, that might be an indicator that there are more Ultrons to come. Of course, it could be, it could be nothing, but there is, I'd say, a pretty good chance that we will get at least one more version of Ultron, whether it be the Mark 1 or Sentry. Overall, looking fantastic. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. My view is, of course, very skewed because I love villains so much. So, I am super excited for this guy. But I want to know how the average, the average Avengers fan who's not huge on villains would think with this guy, and if it would be worth it to buy. So yeah. So there you go. That's my thoughts on the Hot Toys Ultron Prime. Thanks so much for watching.